One Question is designed to give subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences.
Greetings, this is Ty Brown and welcome to One Question. I'm here at the 2018 NCAA Convention. I'm joined by Julie Soriero. Julie is the athletics director at MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Thanks for joining us, Julie.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here.
Now, Julie, 2018 finds you as the president of Women Leaders in College Sports, and your experience, you spent over 20 years as a basketball coach in all levels. You actually took a team to the Final Four. You've been on the top and the bottom. You mentioned that you were 0-20-something at one point in your career, and you've worked for over 30 years in college athletics, including 11 years as the athletics director at MIT. When you talk about women in leadership positions, how can young women or even women who have been working in college sports for a long time position themselves and train themselves to be leaders? And the follow-up question is, how can people who have influential positions help to put women in those positions so they can be leaders in the future?
Sure. Well, I'll start by young women in the profession and how they can grow into leadership roles and develop into and have that develop into opportunities for them to advance their careers. You know, one of the things I always encourage the people I work with, or if I speak to a group of young professionals, is to put your hand up and volunteer and be involved in what's going on, as opposed within the department and within the institution, as opposed to just with what your job is. Serve on a search committee. Be involved in an ad hoc committee in student life or in some sort of academic area, so that you broaden your experience, you broaden your knowledge base, you broaden the people you work with. You can learn something from everybody, even if you learn what not to do. So the more you're involved, the more you raise your hand and try to grow professionally, take that initiative, I think it becomes a little easier. I also think when that happens, people recognize you, so that when other leadership opportunities come up. So, for example, I mentioned be involved in a search committee or a search process. Well, maybe you're involved for a couple of years, a couple different searches, and the next thing you know, you're in charge of a search committee. You're the chair. So you develop that experience. Or there's a promotion internally, and someone says, hey, we've got a really good candidate right in front of us, as opposed to having to go outside. So the more you expand your presence in a department, the more those leadership opportunities will come to you.
Right. Is it search committees and those type of influential bodies? Would you suggest that people who have never been involved, can we just go ask someone in a leadership position, hey, can I be on the committee that is looking to hire this? Like, do you get picked to be on a committee, or can you request to be on a committee? How does that work when you're?
I ended my last set of comments by saying you've got to take the initiative. Young professionals have to take the initiative. And I think it's important then that they make it known that they want to do more. They want to be involved in different levels. They want to broaden that knowledge base, as I said. And I think when you let the person in charge, whoever that might be, know that you want to be more engaged in the inner workings and the administration of the organization, then people will take notice and they'll give you those opportunities. Don't sit back and wait and then wonder why you weren't asked to do it.
Never picked for it, right, exactly. When you made the transition from basketball coach to administration, was that a conversation you had with someone, or was that just a natural transition? Okay, I'm done with this, now it's time to move over to this.
Well, when I made the transition, it was interesting because I was coaching Division I basketball when I decided I really wanted to transition into administration. So I actually went to the D3 level. And I coached for a couple of years, but I also was a basketball coach, but I was also an associate athletic director. So I was doing a little bit of both. But, in the world of college athletics, some might say I took a step backwards, but I see it as a step backwards to go forward at the time.
To go forward, exactly. Well, how do you specifically at MIT, when you have young professionals working with you, if you see somebody that has a lot of potential, women or men, what do you do to help them move on to their career and potentially turn out to be leaders later on?
That's an interesting question, because when you have really great employees, you don't want to see them go because they're hard to replace, but you want to see them professionally aspire to change their career if that's what they really want to do. So I think what you do is you encourage them. If I saw a job that I thought someone would be good for in my department, then I would forward the job to them and say, do you want to talk about this opportunity? But I think in the meantime, you continue to give them opportunities. As I said, if they've raised their hand and proven that they can get the job done, then, not to overburden them, but if it's something they've enjoyed doing, I would check with them again and say, hey, do you want to lead this committee now? Do you want to lead this ad hoc, task force we're putting together? You did a great job as a member of the committee. Now I want you to do this. And I think you find ways to put them in those leadership positions within the department. So if they are in those leaderships within the department, when you have an opportunity within your department and you promote from within, then no one is surprised. They know that they deserve those opportunities. So I think in a very fundamental level, you help them within your department, but then at the same time, you push them out of the nest if they have the skills and the capability of advancing their career.
Of doing it, right, exactly. And it's a bittersweet thing when they
Yeah,
do.
it is.
Right?
It is.
Well, you're as I mentioned before, you're currently the 2018 president of Women Leaders in College Sports. The Division III level, I think there is a lot of leadership, women leaders in terms of athletic directors. I know more than a few, actually. You can always have more. What is it about Division III, you think, where they are willing to put women in position to run a successful organization?
Now, that's a...
I mean, I guess it's an interesting
double-edged
question,
sword.
right?
Yeah,
Because you talk
exactly.
about what the other
Exactly.
divisions don't
I'm
have.
thinking
Kind
now,
of thing.
should I answer what Division III has, or should I answer what
What
other
everybody-
divisions
right.
don't have?
You can take that any direction.
Exactly,
You want to
exactly. I don't think Division III has or does anything differently. I think that one of the biggest challenges in Division I is the wrong assumption that women don't know how to handle the revenue sports.
Oh, yeah,
and,
right.
and it's a wrong assumption. Business is business. Leadership is leadership. And I think that's genderless. If you can do a good job, you do a good job. And so I think it's misconceptions that that there are some women cracking that glass ceiling right now, and they've been very successful. So I think it's not so much why is Division III doing this, it's really why isn't Division I not?
Exactly.
So and I also think there's more Division III sport athletic programs than any other division in the NCAA. So when you look at it at scale, there would be more.
Right,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Okay. Well, that's interesting. This has been great, a very educational conversation here, and I really appreciate you joining us here on One Question.
Well, thanks. I appreciate. That was 3 questions, though. Now, come on.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm teasing. It was great. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. That was Julie Soriero. She's the athletics director at MIT, and this is Ty Brown with One Question. And keep in mind, the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today. This episode of One Question is produced by Spades Media Group, solving problems using creative leadership.